Hey there everybody, wanted to show you guys a inexpensive alternative to a commercial scout rifle. So this is a Yugoslavian Mauser, a M24-47 setup with a scout rifle scope. Now there's a lot of hype right now about scout rifles. Savage has a scout rifle off and on. Most recently Ruger has their own offering in scout rifle formation, but before I got the Ruger and got interested in the Ruger Scout, I tried out this guy. Patrick Sweeney has a book called Gunsmithing Rifles, and he tells you how to convert just a plain Jane Mauser to a Scout. And this is I decided to give it a try. This is a $100 Mauser. I bought it at a Big 5 on sale. It's nothing really all that special. It's got a straight bolt. I thought the straight bolt would be nice, even though it's right-handed. I'm a lefty, but straight bolt would be nice in a Scout configuration because you're going to have a forward-mounted optic. And rifle's $100, and the scope rail was 60 or 70 bucks. This is a XS Scout scope rail here. So. And I'll pull the stock off and show you what this is all about here in a second. Anyway, it's kind of a fun project, and I never could get it to shoot real accurately, and I've moved on to commercial scout rifle before I really finished playing with this. So I'll show you some of the accuracy. To keep costs down, I kept this in a 8x57. You can see here my date. This is way back in 2007 when I was fiddling around with this. So these are my own hand loads. I was shooting Varget and 185 Remington pointed soft point. Excuse me, 185 grain Remington pointed soft points. Fairly light load. At 100 yards, you know, 20 shots. We're shooting more of a pattern instead of a group. Same thing here, a pattern instead of a group. Between shooting this group and the next group, I went in and I did a little bit more work on the barrel inletting. And I went from a pattern to vertical stringing. And at this point, I kind of lost interest in this rifle as a project. Got into hunting season that fall, and then I moved on and I decided to just go ahead and buy a commercial Scout because I liked the concept. I liked the forward-mounted optic, but I didn't want to hassle with trying to figure out why this thing wasn't shooting. So let's show you what all is involved in turning just a standard Mauser into a Scout Mauser. So we'll go ahead and pop the stock off here. Here's your standard military bottle or bottom metal with floor plate and everything. So to put the Scout rifle on, or the Scout mount on, what this is a piece of tubular aluminum with the Picatinny rail machined in the top. And to put this on, you have to take off the rear sight. This is where the rear sight used to be. And you have to take off the front sight. Here's where the front sight is. And I never bothered shortening the barrel on this. This is a 22 or 20, I think it's a 22-inch barrel. And Scout rifles are supposed to have a shorter barrel. I never bothered with that, mainly because I didn't want to buy the tools to do it. It was pretty straightforward. You know, I bought a propane torch and sweated off the rear sight and then the front sight. I should have done it front sight first. I had to use a saw to cut off the rear sight because I couldn't get it over the front sight. But if I'd taken the front sight off first, then I could have slid the rear sight off. No, my eyesight's not that great, so I didn't really mind losing the iron sights. And then here you can see that the Scout mount is significantly different than the factory barrel channel. So went ahead and bought a inletting device. Here we have the barrel channel bedding tool. It even has sawdust in it from the last time I used it. And it's got these metal discs with a sharp edge and rubber in between, and you use this to scrape away at the barrel channel. And that's what I did here. You can see all of that's been scraped away and opened up. Other than that, it's a stock military configuration. My plan is to cut off the stock. I don't need this much forward. I tried putting the handguard back in place and it just didn't work for me. So, and one of these days I'm going to get around to bedding this thing a little bit better. You can see this is the military bedding. It's got a piece of tubing in here. So we already have a pillar bedded on the rear action screw, and it's got a piece of metal here. The stock is kind of deteriorated due to some of the oil that was on there. This is how I got it. $100 Mauser. You kind of get what you pay for. And then the real trick is you got to measure there's a step right here on your barrel, and you got to measure that and then order the scout rail in the right inner diameter, and then you slide it on, hold it in place with these two lock screws, and then you pour Acrylic glass, the Brownells bedding epoxy, down inside there to fix it in place and lock it in place. And did a decent job getting it level, and yeah, we're use some cold bluing to try and clean up some of the rust and clean up some of this metal that's still in the white that was underneath the sight. So this thing's got a lot of use, or a lot of life left in it. I just haven't really been interested in shooting it lately. You're stuck with a military trigger unless you want to buy another one, but the whole idea behind this is getting into a scout rifle at an economy price. So anyway, it's possible. With a little bit more work, I hope this thing will be shooting a little bit better. I don't know when I plan on doing that work. Well, that about wraps it up. You can spend a whole lot of money on one of these, or you can spend a couple $100 and put yourself together a passable scout rifle. Find yourself a Mauser. I think you can still find Mausers in 308 that are fairly good price for $60, $70. At least 5 years ago, that's what these scout rails were going for. And with a little work at home and a little bit of tooling, you can get yourself into an economy scout rifle. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a good one.